Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. This video is about Donald Trump and his strategy for the midterms. Obviously, he's not a candidate. These are elections for Congress. A third of the Senate, everyone in the House of Representatives. As it happens, quite a few gubernatorial races are scheduled to coincide with that, and some state legislatures as well. It's clear that President Trump is reprising his strategy of 2016, which bore fruit for him, that of blatant lying, of fear-mongering, so appealing to people's basest racial prejudices, playing on white anxiety, thinking that those with more melanin are bad and so on. So he's really talking up this caravan coming from Honduras and Guatemala, going to go through Mexico to the United States. Now, this is nothing new. Illegal immigration has been going on for centuries, as in starting with the Pilgrim Fathers, or really starting with Jamestown. So obviously they didn't secure permission from the Native Americans to arrive, those English people. What else about him fear-mongering regarding these people? Some of those moving from Guatemala and Honduras are going to settle in Mexico. And why are these countries, why are they being charnel house states? Mainly because of the drug trade, and which country is the main customer? It's the United States. So the United States sorted out its drug problem, then these severe problems of Central American countries would be massively reduced, and therefore illegal immigration would be reduced. So Trump is highlighting this now. Now, if there is going to be a lot of illegal immigration, who's to blame? It's him. He's the president. Republicans control the Senate. Republicans control the House of Representatives. Republicans control most state houses. So it's the incumbent party should carry the can for this. If his anti-illegal immigration strategy is so brilliant, there's nothing to worry about. So, and hundreds of thousands of people were deported under Obama. Not a word on healthcare. I wonder why. Well, he correctly perceives that's a very weak area for him. He's reneged on promises to make sure that Medicare and Medicaid were adequately funded. It was obviously so blatant, he only cares about his billionaire cronies. Anyway, if the border is so secure under Trump, well, there's nothing to worry about. Then he's talking about that their Middle Easterners or criminals are coming. Notice how he conflates the two. If Middle Easterners are so bad, why does he have Jared Kushner as his representative? Jared Kushner emphasizes he's Jewish. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Jewish people originate from the Middle East, as they like to tell us, because that means that Israel has got this historical legitimacy. So is Kushner bad? I don't think so, not for his ethnicity or his religion, not one bit. But you see, there Trump is obviously contradicting himself, being a bigot again. If Middle Easterners are so bad, how come he adores the Saudi royal family? Oh, because they've got money. So money is what really matters. So again, it's a naked appeal to anti-Arab prejudice, indeed anti-Iranian prejudice. And how about Middle Eastern criminals? What, like MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, who ordered the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, who lied and lied about it, and only Trump would believe him? You know, Saudi Arabia, this is a country where people are executed on the flimsiest of evidence, after farcical trials, after frank torture, after being denied access to a lawyer for months. Obviously, none of that would trouble Trump one bit. He would call gross abuse of human rights toughness, whereas actually upholding people's rights, he would call that weakness. It's nauseating. Just when I think Trump can't get any worse, he does. Again and again, he plumbs new depths. And it's very troubling, his outright assault on truth, his war on truth, indeed. Family values. Ted Cruz, whose wife Heidi was insulted by him so much, and now Cruz is sucking up to him like the utter snivelling coward he is. Remember, he called Trump a snivelling coward? You don't hear that coming out of his mouth anymore. So Trump, like Cruz, appeals to nativism, xenophobia, racism, scaremongering, saying that the Democrats are going to confiscate their firearms, which they haven't proposed, or they're going to legalize heroin, which they have not proposed. So Trump says there'll probably be voter fraud. Why is he doing this? He's getting his excuses in early because he expects to lose. I think the Republicans will lose, but not by much. So it was just the same strategy in 2016. He's reheated that old tactic. So although Trump is stupid in many ways, low literacy, very limited lexis, and mispronounces simple words, he has a certain acumen when it comes to exploiting the fears of white proletarians. and he's shrewd in strategizing this way. We will just raise the spectre of these bad people and try to distract the working class from what would really improve their lives, which would be publicly funded healthcare, things like that, and just get them to hate the people who are even poorer than them. They want to look down on somebody else, think the other is to blame. It's the very poorest people who do these terribly paid jobs. They're the ones who are taking away wealth from me, not the billionaires, not fraudsters like Trump with his fraudulent Trump university, which wasn't even a university, things like that. So it's just nauseating. He's not talking about the economy so much. Why? Because it looks like it may well contract. Suddenly the stock market has fallen, and he made great play of how quickly the stock market was rising earlier in the year. So it's lucky for Trump that this has happened now. At the last minute, was probably too late to significantly impact the outcome of these elections. Had it happened a month or so beforehand, people might have been able to feel this economic slowdown before they went to the polling booth. And he's coming out with these completely baseless stories that there's going to be huge scale bogus voting. The evidence is there's almost no fraudulent voting in the United States, despite what Trump says. Well, there we are. He is nauseating and foul as ever. And it's very worrying because he is a role model for children. Children will look up to him and think they should emulate him. He's the commander-in-chief of the US military. Military personnel will say, well, I should behave like he has. Obviously, the US military's got a strict code against sexual harassment, sexual assault, the kind of thing that Trump does all the time, that he went on tape knowing he was being recorded to brag about the sex crimes that he had committed in that notorious Access Hollywood interview with Billy Bush of the Bush family. Obviously he'd be kicked out of the US military if he was lower down. And then people are going to think this is permissible behavior, and this defense has been used in trials. Well, the president said this is allowed, so I'm doing it. So there we are. We got to bear in mind that his rhetoric contributes to things. That words lead to actions. That when he's advocated for crimes, sex crimes, they happen. When he's told people to beat up journalists, they happen. What's next? Murder. When he's called journalists enemies of the people, they do get killed. Jamal Khashoggi would be a case in point. So it's very troubling. And I was dipping into Edward Gibbon the other day, Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, and his thesis is oddly prescient and fascinating. And there's certain parallels could be drawn between ancient Rome and what we see in the United States today. Is he attributed the final collapse of Rome to the loss of civic virtue, which is being eroded very rapidly under Donald Trump, who's a sort of a Heliogabalus character in American history.